Good morning, everybody, and thank you to Patty and the entire Macy's team. As you heard from Patty, we are fortunate to have from the very top from CEO Terry Lundgren, who himself I know tells me often speaks directly with Principal Genevieve Stanislaus all the time. So it's just great to have Macy's here, and thank you for all of your support of Pencil and of public education in New York City. I also want to thank a couple of our other sponsors who are with us this morning. That includes CA Technologies, JetBlue Airways, and PwC, and thank you for your incredible support of Pencil and our work throughout the year. Two individuals who were not able to join us today, but I also want to publicly thank Stephen Meringoff, who's the founding sponsor of our Pencil Fellows program, which I hope many of you know is an incredible college and career readiness program that culminates in a 6-week paid summer internship and is a key component of our overall college and career readiness work. And we thank Steve for being a champion of that program, as well as Richard Cohen, who has been a huge investor of our overall work and the growth that I'm about to tell you about that's going to be coming in the coming years. Our room is also filled with some of our board of directors. I won't introduce them all, but I do want to introduce to you not a new face, but a new role, Howard Chatsanoff from Weil Gottschall, who has been a longtime member of Pencil's board and was just elected the chair of our board of directors earlier this month. So we're delighted to have Howard, and you'll hear from him in a few minutes, but I'll tell you in advance that he is one of the most passionate, committed supporters of public education that you'll come across, and we're delighted to have Howard filling this role. I also saw in the room, we're delighted to have a special guest, Mary Brabeck, who is the Dean of the School of Education right here at NYU, and delighted to have some additional education experts in the room with us. And to welcome Mary. And finally, I want to thank our founder, Lisa Bellsberg. Lisa's here sitting with Mary at the table. Oh, I'm sorry, before I say Lisa, I have on my notes that Deshaun Wright from Governor Cuomo's office, the Deputy Secretary for Education, I did not see him, but delighted that Deshaun is here as planned. Thank you for being here. So now I get to mention Lisa twice, which is worth it. But I want to thank our founder, Lisa Bellsberg. It's hard to believe, but it was 19 years ago that Lisa had an idea that at the time was kind of out of the box, that we could bring the community into the school, and that would result in better performance for our schools and our students. And I think today, to say that the idea is out of the box is hard to believe. In fact, Lisa's idea was really visionary. And today, the idea that children can be educated solely within the four walls of the school, I think, is as antiquated as the chalkboard. So thank you, Lisa, for your vision, and thank you for making Pencil's work possible. So with the thank yous and acknowledgments out of the way, let's get down to business. So since Pencil was launched 19 years ago, Principal for a Day has been an opportunity to call attention to the very idea that when business leaders come together with educators and are supported with expert advice and guidance, incredible things can happen. We've proven that over and over in hundreds upon hundreds of schools. In fact, last year, 90% of principals in our program reported that their partnership had a positive impact on the school's culture and or the school's student performance. That's an impact on more than 200,000 students in the last school year alone. Now, while those are some pretty impressive numbers, and we're extremely proud of what we're accomplished, we are not resting on our laurels. In fact, the impact that we've created together has inspired us to double down on our efforts to bring positive change to our schools and our students. Over the past year, we've been fortunate to work with A.T. Kearney, the international consulting firm and themselves a Pencil partner, to develop a plan for Pencil's future. One that sets the stage for Pencil to significantly deepen our impact, to strengthen our network, and to act as a model for how collaboration between business and school leaders can lead to improved school and student performance. So what does that mean for all of us? It means that we're digging deeper to analyze our work and to measure its impact so that we can better advise you on where to focus your efforts. I hope the 5 areas of focus that are on the screen now look familiar to you, and as we go forward, we'll be refining them further to see how we can more deeply catalyze the meaningful impact in each of those areas. It means we're going to cull best practices and highlight proven models so that rather than reinventing the wheel, you can learn from what we already know works. And not only are we going to share this new knowledge with you, we're also going to create new and improved ways for you to share and exchange ideas with each other, because we know it's your collective energies that really spark innovation. And it means that our partnership coordinators, who you tell us year after year in survey after survey are such a critical component of our program, will have even deeper knowledge and expertise to guide you, to advise you, and to lead you to the type of impact that we all want for our schools and our students. That's our commitment, to provide the expertise, guidance, and network of support that you need to have a greater impact than ever before. Now, what are we asking for you? We're asking all of you to recommit yourselves to the cause. We're asking you to work more closely with us, to put in a little bit more time and a little bit more energy. Because if you do, the impact of your efforts won't be felt only within your schools. They'll be felt in schools far and wide. Together, we won't be creating individual collaborations in individual schools. We'll also be developing models of collaboration that can be replicated in schools across the city, and for that matter, across the country. Models that will benefit not just children in your school, but countless children everywhere. The discussion that we're about to have is just one example of how we're expanding and deepening the expertise that we bring to the table. We know that your work doesn't take place in a vacuum. It's taking place within an increasingly complicated education landscape. The Common Core state standards are dramatically changing what and how our students learn. It appears we're going to have a new mayor who is proposing significant changes to our schools. And what it takes to succeed in a 21st century global economy is more complex than ever before. That's why we brought together a panel of experts who are at the forefront of what's happening in public education to share their thoughts and their knowledge with you. Now, before I introduce this esteemed panel, I just have two final things to say. First, this is the age of social media, and we want to share our work far and wide. So this morning, let your social networks know you're here with us. There are some sample tweets in your program if you're a tweeter. But beyond today, share your pencil stories. If you're at your school, post your pictures on Facebook. Tweet about a visit to your school. Let your networks know that you're part of a movement that is bringing real change to our schools. And lastly, I want to thank all of you. You are here today because you are committed to ensuring that every child gets the education they deserve. Together, we're making that happen. Together, we are proving that when educators and business leaders come together, our schools and our students win. I'm excited to work alongside all of you in the months and years ahead. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's distinguished panel of education leaders. Their full bios are in the program, so yes, you're welcome. I will not read them all to you. I will just introduce each of them briefly. But let me say for about all of them, they are passionate, committed individuals who are at the forefront of the policy changes taking place in education across the city and across the state. And all of them, we are grateful, have been incredibly supportive of Pencil and our work. So first, let me begin with Merrill Tisch. Merrill is the Chancellor of the New York State Board of Regents, which oversees all education in the state. And she was instrumental in making New York State one of the first states to adopt the new Common Core state standards. Welcome, Merrill. We're delighted to have you. Second is Ernest Logan, and Ernest is the president of the Council of Supervisors and Administrators, the organization that represents 6,000 principals, assistant principals, supervisors, education administrators who work in the city's schools. Also important, Ernie is a born and bred New Yorker and an unbelievable education champion, and we are proud to support his members as they lead our schools. Welcome, Ernie. And finally, and certainly not least, but last, Kathy Wild is the president and CEO of the Partnership for New York City, which is the city's most influential business group dedicated to working with government, labor, and the nonprofit sectors to build a stronger New York. And during Kathy's tenure, she has been a key player in putting education at the forefront of the business community's agenda. So we're delighted to have Kathy as well. Thank you to all of you. And now I'm also delighted to introduce our moderator, Lindsay Christ, who is the education reporter for New York One. And you might recognize the face. What you probably don't know is she herself is a former teacher. And I think you probably do know that over the past 4 years, she's done an incredible job of shining a light on the important education issues taking place in New York City. We couldn't think of a better moderator than Lindsay, and we're really honored to have you here with us. So please, one final welcome to our panelists and to Lindsay. Lindsay, it's all yours.